Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'm reviewing episode 433, From Cradle to Safe. The episode begins during a dark night in the middle of a forest that was always silent during this time, but it wasn't silent right now, since there was a lonely, crying bonsai, crying extremely loud because it had been abandoned. We then cut to the next morning with Ash and gang, who were having some brunch, relaxing under the sun, and sitting around a tree stump. Well, Brock and Max were enjoying their lunch, which consisted of tea and some Brock-made biscuits. But May, on the other hand, was too busy looking at her egg while polishing it with a cloth, hoping that it would hatch soon, assuming that it must hatch soon. Max admitted that he was really wondering what Pokemon would end up hatching from the egg, suggesting that maybe it was a water or a grass type. May hugged her egg and said that she wasn't bothered by what hatched. She was just excited for it to hatch in general, and not knowing what it would hatch into was what made the whole process exciting. But either way, she had a good feeling that it would hatch into something good anyways. Ash was admittedly bored with all of this egg talk, so he got up from where he was sitting on the tree stump and suggested to Pikachu that they try out some Volt Tackle training, and Pikachu agreed, as enthusiastic to get better as Ash was. May, Max, and Brock, upon hearing that Ash was going to train, decided to sit on some logs and watch as Ash sent out his Donphan to train against Pikachu. Donphan was very eager to participate in its first full battle as a Donphan, as opposed to a Phanpy. And the reason why Ash chose Donphan of all his Pokemon was because Donphan was a ground type, so Pikachu could use as many powerful Volt Tackles as it needed to train with it, and Donphan wouldn't be seriously injured. Without further ado, the battle began, with Ash of course ordering Pikachu to use Volt Tackle, and Pikachu does so, speeding towards Donphan. But Donphan simply stomps onto the ground and prepares its footing properly to prepare itself for the heavy blow. And this worked because when Pikachu hit Donphan, Donphan kept its footing and resisted the sheer force of the Volt Tackle. Pikachu did look like it was about to gain the upper hand, but Donphan focused all its own energy and threw Pikachu back, sending it flying, although thankfully Pikachu lands perfectly on its feet. Ash thanks Donphan for its help with training the Volt Tackle and compliments it on its ability to deflect such a powerful attack. May, Max, and Brock were amazed at Donphan's power as well as the power of the Volt Tackle. Donphan was very pleased with the praise it was receiving from Ash, and Donphan was happy as Ash was about to focus his attention on it and get Donphan to perform an attack of its own to see how strong its own attacks were. Like basically, instead of focusing on Pikachu, Ash was going to focus on Donphan and see if Donphan had the ability to defeat Pikachu, but suddenly Donphan rolled up into a ball and started using Rollout. Ash and Pikachu freaked out at this, obviously, but thankfully for them, they managed to dodge, forcing Donphan to instead collide with a nearby rock, which absolutely obliterated the rock, and ironically, the sheer force of the rollout sent Ash and Pikachu flying back anyways, even though they weren't hit. Just as Ash was about to ask Donphan what the fuck was up and why it just uncontrollably used rollout, Ash noticed why Donphan went all apeshit. There was a lone ninja guy with a ninjask hiding behind a rock, and Donphan must have believed him to be a threat. Ash reasonably thought so as well, because why the fuck would a random ass ninja guy be spying on them? But once this ninja guy was done screaming in pain from having plenty of rock shards shoved into his back from Donphan's rollout, he immediately accused Ash and the gang of being thieves. So Ash and the gang quickly explained that they were not thieves and were just crossing the area on the way to Fuchsia City for Ash's next Battle Frontier challenge. Hearing this, the ninja boy asked to sit down, and Ash and the gang let him. So he sat on its tree stump and was offered some tea by Brock while the ninja boy talked with Ash and the gang, who were sitting on a log. The ninja boy was impressed to hear that Ash was doing the Battle Frontier challenge, but Ash stopped him from flattering him further and simply asked why the boy thought they were thieves. The boy simply apologizes as he bows and admits he was mistaken. And Ash said that it was alright, not wanting to upset the ninja boy any further because it looked like he was getting really emotional and he genuinely felt bad. Ash and the gang then introduced themselves, as does the boy, introducing himself as Evian from the Pokemon Ninja School. And Ash was curious what the fuck the ninja school was, so Evian explained that the school trained people and Pokemon the ways and abilities of a ninja. Pretty self-explanatory if you ask me. Then, Evian revealed that you didn't have to become a full-time student at the school. You could just come there for a special day of training, and Evian suggested that Ash and the gang should do that, offering to take them to the school, and Ash and the gang agreed. Soon enough, they arrived at the ninja school and were greeted by the head teacher, Angela, who told them to change into ninja clothes if they wanted to train there. So they did, and seeing as how all of the other students that were currently there had a Pokemon partner beside them, such as a girl having a Tangela, a boy having a Bellsprout, and another boy having an Ariados, not to mention Evian having a Ninjask, and Angela herself having a Shiftry, Ash decided to choose Pikachu as his partner. Brock sent out Fortress as his, and May sent out Squirtle as hers. With Ash and gang now prepared, Angela called all the students for a little meeting. During this meeting, Angela warned that there had been even more reports of thefts, which confirmed why Evian had been suspicious of Ash and gang, since he was probably just suspicious of anyone potentially being thieves. Several of the students corroborated this and added on to the theft reports, explaining that strange things had been happening around the school as of late. Gates had been left open, and there had been wailing sounds coming out of the forest, as well as running in the bushes nearby. Specifically yesterday night, because one of the students remembered looking out their window and seeing it. Hearing about these additional weird happenings, Angela declared that as ninjas, it was their job to investigate, also to make sure that the ninja school was secure, and everyone, including Ash, May, and Max, eagerly agreed. Brock agreed the most, though, as he had fallen in love with Angela and proclaimed his love and dedication to her, lunging at her and trying to hug her tight. However, since Brock was so overtaken by love, developing hearts in his eyes, what he didn't notice was that Angela was super disturbed by Brock's behavior and used her ninja skills to swiftly jump up into a tree and replace herself with a log. So Brock was actually hugging a log, wearing a ninja shirt, not Angela. Brock finally realized this. Eventually, Brock did snap out of his love trance, and he mistakenly thought that Angela had turned to wood and stepped back, panicking, but then he realized the truth when Angela called out to Brock from above him in the tree. And Angela takes the opportunity to lecture Brock, being the ninja master and all, on how a ninja always had to be prepared for the unexpected. Ninjas had to learn tactics like that, as well as tactics that involved being easily evasive, such as the one she had just used, where she replaced herself with a log and jumped up into a tree. Brock was embarrassed, as all the other students laughed at his insane love. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was nearby in a group of bushes, spying on the entire school and all of its students, including Ash and the gang, with some binoculars. Mime Jr. was also on James's shoulder. Jesse suggested that they should become students in the school themselves to become ninjas, and as a result, become so stealthy and skilled that they could capture Pikachu, or they could just capture Pikachu while they were at the school as well. But she really wanted to become a ninja, and went on and on about how they could capture not only Pikachu, but all of the Pokemon at the ninja school. Although James had his doubts, reminding Jesse that Pokemon that had been trained in a ninja school could be really hard to steal, because they would likely be really strong, even if they themselves became ninjas, because they would still be more inexperienced in comparison to the other Pokemon. Jessie didn't even seem to be listening to James' concerns, though, and simply told James her dream that was lifelong, which was being a beautiful ninja. James, Meowth, and Mime Jr. scoffed at this, sighing, not believing that a beautiful ninja was even possible, but Jessie believed that it was, and went into a vision, as she described in specific her childhood dream. She was running at the speed of light through a dark forest in the middle of the night, and killing all her enemies by throwing a Starmie at them, as it used a water gun to send them flying from wherever all her enemies were hiding. James, Meowth, and Mime Jr. weren't even listening to Jessie, though, just thinking she was talking some bullshit, and they were more interested in spying on Ash and the gang, which made Jessie immensely furious, as she demanded James, Meowth, and Mime Jr. to pay attention to her story, which terrified Meowth, James, and Mime Jr., stopping them from spying, especially James and Mime Jr., even though they were sharing a pair of binoculars. Meanwhile, back with Ash and the gang, Angela had instructed all of the students to do a special training exercise involving underwater submersion and breathing. You also had to breathe through only a bamboo stick. Well, with the exception of Squirtle, who didn't even need that, as it was a water type, so it could just joyfully swim around. The purpose of this training exercise was to train ninjas how to be able to hide underwater and still breathe. Also, from the surface, Angela yelled down at her students, explaining the secondary purpose of this training exercise, which was to become one with the lake. Soon enough, May and Max were the first ones to come up to catch some real fresh air, because they were struggling breathing underwater, even with the bamboo sticks, and soon after, all the other students, including Ash and Brock and all their Pokemon, came to the surface as well. Angela did almost get splashed by everyone coming up suddenly out of the water, but she was relatively pleased with their performance, so she decided to move on to the next training exercise, which was to be hiding, utilizing your surroundings to blend into the area. And the area that was chosen was somewhere deep in the forest. We then see a group of 3 Pidgey fly down to enjoy some grass on the ground, and to rest as well. They looked around to see if anyone was around, to make sure that, nothing bad would happen to them and all that, and they failed to see Max and Ash hiding, successfully blending into their surroundings. Max was hiding beneath a fake layer of bark on a tree, and Ash and Pikachu were hiding underneath a fake patch of ground that Ash had placed that looked like regular ground, although Ash was very annoyed to be in this position. It was pretty cramped. Ash and Pikachu then got very annoyed as the Pidgey were pecking the ground and walking all over it, assuming it was real ground, so this was painful for Ash and Pikachu. So painful that the two of them were forced to reveal their location, bursting onto the ground, which in turn scared all the Pidgey off as they flew away. Angela then popped out from where she was hiding, which was another layer of fake bark, like how Max was hiding, and told Ash that he did alright for his first try. It took some time to get used to handling and disguising yourself in your surroundings, although she suggested that one thing Ash needed to work on was endurance, so that he could endure being walked on and pecked by the Pidgey, or other creatures for that matter, so that was the next test. So, Angela told all the students to come out from their hiding places, and they were all brought into a group as Angela explained in detail their next task. But first, she called out another one of her Pokemon, being a Kecleon, and told her students that Kecleon would be using its special ability to turn half invisible, and their jobs would be to find it. Explaining that this form of endurance wasn't about physical pain, but instead mentally, because basically, Angela thought that if you could have mental endurance, then you could have physical endurance too, I guess. I don't know. But Angela's Kecleon proceeded to camouflage itself and dash off further into the forest, with all the students following, trying to find its location. Ash, Evian, Pikachu, and Ninjask decided to go out together to look for Kecleon as a group of 4. But Ash and Pikachu were getting frustrated because they couldn't find it, leading Evian to explain to Ash that you had to use your ninja skills to detect Kecleon, and he proceeded to demonstrate focusing on his ninja senses to try and locate Kecleon, and soon enough, he senses something and orders his Ninjask to use its wings to create a storm of dirt. Ninjask obliges, and the dirt cloud settles on Kecleon, basically revealing it. Starting with its tail, much to Ash's surprise that Evian's ninja skills actually worked. In order to fully reveal Kecleon, Evian then had his Ninjask use a sand attack to spray some sand on it, and sure enough, this fully revealed it. Evian wasted no time jumping towards Kecleon, who was in a bush. But much to Evian's surprise, he ended up just landing on the ground because Kecleon had quickly ran away. Evian was embarrassed with his failure, but then, when he got up from the ground, he saw Angela coming towards him and Ash, and Angela congratulated Evian on at least being able to sense her Pokemon. Evian was pleased, thanking Angela for the compliment, as Angela suggests that maybe Ash should have a go at trying to sense Kecleon. After some time, Ash thinks that he saw some bushes rustling, so instead of relying on ninja senses, he just used his eyes, having saw Kecleon probably in some bushes. Right as Pikachu tried to use Thunderbolt on Kecleon, though, the Thunderbolt missed, as Ash's hat suddenly came off his head and flew all the way up to the top of a tree, where Kecleon revealed itself, holding on to Ash's hat, revealing that it actually went from the bushes to Ash's head without him noticing. Ash and Pikachu quickly dashed for Kecleon, also wanted to get Ash's hat back, but Kecleon dodges, jumping off the tree, forcing Ash and Pikachu to just end up making contact with the tree, hurting themselves. Although Kecleon does at least drop Ash's hat in the process, so he gets it back. Angela laughs softly at Ash's failure, a bit embarrassed for him, while Evian, on the other hand, and his Ninjask laugh extremely hard. Meanwhile, the other students, the one with the Bellsprout, the one with the Ariados, and the one with the Tangela, were looking for Kecleon too, when one of the male students, as one was a female and two were guys, heard a sound coming from the tall grass. So they all went over to look, and the guy who had first heard the sound found none other than a baby Bonsly wandering around. Bonsly was freaked out and tried desperately to run away, but the student who had spotted it grabbed it first, very quickly, and turned around to show the other two students. The Bonsly then started to cry extremely loudly and uncontrollably, which makes the students wonder what they could have done to make it so upset. Just then, Brock appears and explains that he was holding a Bonsly because he had heard about it from his guidebook, and he tells the students that they were handling a baby Bonsly all wrong. Since it was a baby, it needed care. So Brock takes the Bonsly and cradles it in his arms, rocking it back and forth while telling it that everything is okay and that no one would harm it, and this calms Bonsly down. Just then, Angela, Ash, May, and Evian arrive as well, along with Max and all their Pokemon, obviously, and they were surprised to see a Bonsly in Brock's arms, and Ash instantly checks out Bonsly using his Pokédex to find out more about it. And Ash finds out that it was the pre-evolution of Sudowoodo, newly discovered. Meanwhile, the student with glasses, the one that had heard the cry and rustling in the bushes last night, was replaying Bonsly's cry over and over in its head, and he came to the conclusion that Bonsly was likely the troublemaker, and the other two students agreed with him, as they apparently had heard the cry at some point as well. Although Brock stopped the three students when they demanded their stuff back and explained that the Bonsly had actually been a real thief and taken their shit, and Brock was basically like, yo, do you have any proof that Bonsly is actually the thief? Which led the student with the glasses to explain that he had heard Bonsly's cry last night, so it had to have been the troublemaker and thief. Although Brock held Bonsly back, wanting to protect it, and Bonsly started crying again, hating the conflict that was going on. So Brock simply instructed the three students to calm the fuck down and let him deal with Bonsly appropriately. And instead of punishing it, obviously, Brock tried to comfort the crying Bonsly by reaching up to a nearby tree and pulling an oranberry off of it and trying to feed it to Bonsly, putting it to his mouth. However, Bonsly didn't seem too intrigued by the berry and batted it away with its head, straight out of Brock's hand. Brock didn't get mad at Bonsly for this, though, as he saw that Bonsly was just distressed, and prepared something he thought Bonsly, being a baby, would like, a baby bottle of milk. And sure enough, Bonsly happily drank all the milk until it was gone. Seeing this, Angela and all her students realized that Bonsly was just a baby, so there was no way it could be the thief, because one, it was too young to be a thief, according to them, and two, if it was too young to eat solid foods, then that definitely solidified that it wasn't the thief, because some of their food had been stolen. They just forgot to mention that. Alright then. Just then, Bonsly sucked the last drop out of the milk bottle, and it was sad not to have any more, so it started to cry once again, and got mad at Brock when Brock said they didn't have any more, hitting Brock in the face with his own head, and he just kept on smacking Brock, trying to push him away and to free himself from Brock's grasp. Brock tried his best to stop Bonsly from attacking and calm him down, but Bonsly just wouldn't fucking calm down, and it actually was attacking him with quite a bit of force, with multiple headbutts, which made May and Max laugh a little bit at Bonsly's behavior. Just then, though, Angela, being the master ninja that she was, sensed something and tells everyone to watch out, yelling as loud as she could. As for Bonsly, it could sense something as well, and jumped out of Brock's arms to dodge an incoming metallic shuriken that launched towards the ground, and made contact with it, thankfully not hitting anyone, aside from the ground. Angela recognizes the shuriken as a ninja star, and wonders what the fuck was going on, as the ninja star then opened up to reveal one single rose. Everyone simply stared at the rose in amazement, wondering why the fuck it was so big, and what the fuck was going on, before Jesse and James called out to everyone, revealing themselves as they did the motto. Ash and the gang obviously recognized the motto, so they looked around for Team Rocket, and eventually saw them dressed as ninjas, likely because Jesse wanted to be a beautiful ninja, and they were wearing mysterious masks, and were tied to a paper kite mech with huge robotic arms. Although Ash joked that the disguises were utterly fucking pointless, since they just did their motto, so it was obvious they were Team Rocket. Evian and Angela and all the other students were in awe of Team Rocket's awesome masks on their ninja disguises, with James and Mime Jr. both wearing a white mask, Jesse and Wobbuffet both wearing a red mask, and Meowth wearing a blue mask. And Angela and Evian asked who the fuck Team Rocket was, believing them to be good ninjas or something, but Max explained they were far worse. They were a group of thieves who were always trying to steal Pokemon. Jesse then puts their stealing plan into action, as she orders Meowth to use one of the mech's attacks, which involved a large amount of sticky thread. So Meowth proceeded to press a button on the kite mech somehow, shooting a sticky thread from its arms to capture all of the Pokemon. Every single one that belonged to all the ninja students, Angela, Evian's Ninjask, and then Ash's Pikachu, Brock's Fortress, and May's Squirtle. Bonsai was the only one that the thread had failed to grab. Now that Team Rocket had all the Pokemon they needed, they started to fly away in their kite, but Angela declared that she was not going to let Team Rocket thieves get away, and sent out her Shiftry and ordered it to chase after the kite. Shiftry obliged, speeding after Team Rocket's kite as fast as it could, and it used all the momentum from its running to literally run up all the way to the sky and collide with the kite, and it cuts the string that was keeping the kite afloat. So this caused Team Rocket to fall to the ground, while Shiftry landed perfectly on 2 feet. Team Rocket was falling fucking fast, so if they fell, they, along with all the Pokemon they captured, likely would have died, but thankfully for the Pokemon, when the kite fell, it got its fall broken by a tree, so it didn't fall nearly as far. Still though, Team Rocket was down, so Ash and Brock took the opportunity to join the fight and help out Shiftry, as Ash sent out Grovyle, May sent out Combuskin, and Brock sent out Marshtomp, and the 4 Pokemon were assigned to get back all the other Pokemon, which were now hanging along, just barely attached to Team Rocket's wrecked kite on a tree. Grovyle struck first by running towards the kite in the tree, using a leaf blade to cut the thread, keeping the Pokemon attached to the kite, so they were all set free, safely falling down from the tree. Now that the Mons were free, Angela told Shiftry to focus all its efforts on actually defeating Team Rocket, so Shiftry hit Team Rocket with a hard rock smash, and Combuskin followed up by burning Team Rocket with a strong fire spin. So Team Rocket was really in bad shape now, and they cowered in fear, covering their faces from the pain of the fire and the rocks. But they were only going to hurt more, as Brock pulls Marshtomp to use Water Gun to blast Team Rocket straight out of the tree, sending them falling to the ground. Bonsai had been watching this whole battle, and was amazed by Ash and the gang's friendship and power. Jessie then got back up, determined as fuck, as she yelled at Ash and the gang, and claimed that no one could stop a beautiful ninja like herself, leaving Ash and Brock to stare at Jessie in disbelief, not believing that she had the capabilities of being beautiful or a ninja, though Jessie angrily assured Ash and Brock that she had ninja skills, and was actually better than the goddamn teacher, and therefore challenged Angela to a battle, and Angela accepted, wanting to put Jessie in her place. So Jessie sent out her Sniper to battle Angela and her Shiftry, though not before Jessie whispered to James and Meowth, telling them of her plan to utilize some secret ninja tactics to outsmart Angela. James and Meowth were skeptical, but they decided to go along with Jessie's plan, which started with Sniper using a haze to hide Jessie, James, and Meowth, masking the area full of smoke. While Team Rocket was hidden, James and Meowth did their part, hoisting Jessie up by basically throwing her up with a rope thing that they had as leftover from their ruined kite mech. And unbeknownst to Angela, her students, her Ash and gang, since they couldn't see shit because their view was blocked by the smoke, Jessie was coming down with a huge ass net. And right as the smoke cleared, Jessie laughed, bragging about how she had used the net to capture Angela. However, Angela then appears behind Jessie and laughs herself, which makes Jessie shocked as fuck, and she stares at Angela, wondering what the fuck was going on, since Angela was supposed to be in the net. Jessie lifts the net up, though, to reveal, just like Brock found before, a log with a ninja outfit on. Basically, Angela, being a smart ninja, actually could hear Jessie coming down, so she dodged out of the way and replaced herself with a log, which Jessie captured instead. Jessie claimed that she had a ninja technique that was way cooler, saying that she had a ninja double team, bragging that she wasn't beaten yet, and this attack would give her the win. Obviously, this double team wasn't a real double team. It instead just involved Jessie running around in circles, along with 2 double team copies. Well, actually, they weren't fucking double team copies. The copies were instead just James and Meowth disguised as Jessie. Obviously, Angela saw through Jessie's little trick and wasn't impressed by the trick, and ordered Shiftry to use a real double team to show Jessie what it really looked like and to stop her nonsense. Shiftry obliged, using a real double team to disorient Team Rocket, which confused them so much that they were surrounded and stopped from moving. Shiftry then followed up by using a Razor Wind, and Evian followed up by having his Ninjask use a Fury Swipes, which caught Team Rocket in a tornado and left them with scratches on their faces even when the tornado ended. The student with the glasses then had his Ariados follow up by using a spider web to trap them inside a giant web ball, immobilizing them. Brock then noticed that Team Rocket could have been the ones who had been stealing shit, especially the food and berries, knowing that Team Rocket really loved food. So Brock asked them and yelled at them for doing so. And Team Rocket was so offended by the yelling that they didn't even try to hide the fact that they did in fact steal shit, and confirmed that yes, they were the thieves all along, not Bonsai. This made the students immensely angry. They were going to take out their anger on Team Rocket, not with their Pokemon, but with their fists. They were going to beat Team Rocket to a pulp. But as everyone moved in on Team Rocket, before they could actually do anything, Team Rocket decided to use the fact that they were in a web ball to their advantage and rolled all the way off a cliff. Ash was about to go down the cliff after Team Rocket to stop them, but Angela stopped him and assured Ash that since they were falling down the goddamn cliff, they would get what was coming to them without any interference, so Ash might as well just save his breath and save his energy. And this turned out to be the right call by Angela, because Team Rocket rolled off the edge of the cliff and immediately got caught on a tree branch, and the force of them hitting the branch sent Team Rocket bouncing into the air in the ball and blasting off while still in the ball. With Team Rocket gone, Angela then thanks Ash and the gang for their help with dealing with Team Rocket, leaving Ash to reply that he didn't want any credit. So Brock takes the opportunity to agree with Ash, really thanking Angela for the praise, but assuring Angela that it was her and her Shiftry that did most of the work, not them. And he goes to congratulate Angela and develops hearts in his eyes as he goes to flirt with her again. and he was even going to go as far as to hug Angela, but before he could, he was stopped by Bonsly, who smacked Brock in the head again using a tackle attack, sending him flying backwards to the ground, and his face planted straight into the dirt. Brock got up though, and sadly questioned Bonsly why he was attacking him, and in response, Bonsly started crying sadly, and this made everyone realize that Bonsly actually liked Brock, and was only attacking him as like a little way of it to say thanks or something for Brock helping him and sticking by his side so far and all that, and he just got a little carried away, and he didn't mean to. The three students, with the exception of Evian, so like the other three, start to scold Bonsly as they realize that it ran away from Team Rocket since it wasn't captured. And instead of helping out during the battle, like all the other Pokemon, Bonsly just scurried away. But Angela commanded the three students to back off, since Bonsly was a baby, and therefore too young to defend itself or fight. The three students didn't let up though, and continued to be mean to Bonsly, calling it a coward. But Angela stopped them again, saying only cowards picked on the weak. So she implied that if anything, her students were cowards, and pointed out to her students that it made sense that Bonsly didn't want to fight, even if it wasn't a baby. It's been alone for so long, when likely had been abandoned, because it should have had parents Subarutos looking after it. So it was likely afraid you're not having a proper childhood. Brock then noticed that Bonsly was going to start crying even harder, and upon hearing that Bonsly was alone, Brock suggested that maybe Bonsly should come along with him. And this managed to comfort Bonsly, getting it to stop crying and calm down, and Bonsly smiled and nodded, indicating that it wanted to join him. Just then though, as Bonsly happily jumped into Brock's arms, indicating that it definitely wanted to come with him, it started to flail around, making Ash and Gang wonder what the fuck was wrong with Bonsly. Ash looked closer at Bonsly's movements and saw that it looked upset and kind of wanted something from Brock, and came to the conclusion that Bonsly wanted to battle Brock as a way to prove itself to him before he actually came along with him. Basically, Bonsly wanted to prove that he was strong before coming along with Brock, because he really respected Brock, I guess. Ash, Pikachu, and Angela assured Brock that a battle was a good idea, while Angela's students watched, wondering what Brock was going to do. Brock held Bonsly out, stopping it from flailing around, as he put it on the ground and declared that he accepted Bonsly's challenge. He would battle it. So Bonsly got on one side of a makeshift battlefield, while Brock got on the other with his fortress, because he was going to battle Bonsly with Fortress. Just as Brock was about to start off the battle, with having Fortress use an attack, Bonsly started to cry once again, which distracted Brock and Fortress, as Brock started to wonder if Bonsly really wanted to battle after all, and Max and May did as well. However, Brock soon found out that this turned out to be one of Bonsly's moves, fake tears, because now that Bonsly had tried to throw Fortress and Brock off guard, Bonsly took the opportunity to attack Fortress with a tackle, sending it flying back into a tree. Brock understood that Bonsly definitely wanted to battle, and that was just another way of Bonsly proving itself, and he told Fortress to use Rapid Spin, leading Bonsly to start using its fake tears attack again, wanting to distract Fortress, so the attack would stop. But Brock just told Fortress to ignore the fake tears, so Fortress obliged, and the Rapid Spin smashed straight into Bonsly, sending it flying back and spinning. And right after Bonsly landed, Brock called for Fortress to use spikes, which surrounded Bonsly with several sharp spikes, which Bonsly ricocheted into until it stopped spinning. So that effectively meant that even though it had stopped spinning, it was now trapped in the spikes. And Brock, seeing that Bonsly couldn't escape, or use another attack in this case, threw a Pokeball, trying to catch Bonsly. Bonsly does go inside the Pokeball, and it started to shake, but Bonsly quickly breaks out from the Pokeball and lands on the ground. Bonsly was happy that it had managed to prove its strength to Brock by escaping the Pokeball, but it was so happy that it accidentally fell over, hurting its ass right on one of the spikes, which caused Bonsly to jump up in pain, giving Brock another opportunity to throw another Pokeball. And since Bonsly had suffered some damage from the spike, this Pokeball actually caught Bonsly after shaking for a little bit, and after Ash, May, Max, Angela, and all her students had watched very closely. The capture was so definitive, indicating that Bonsly really wanted to go with Brock, that the Pokeball clicking sound made an echo throughout the forest, leading Ash and Gang, Angela and her students to congratulate Brock on his capture, while Brock celebrated his own capture by holding his Pokeball up in the air, like Ash did, and Fortress celebrated Brock's capture as well, jumping up right up to Brock's head. Later, by the time Ash and Gang had returned to the ninja school, Brock had decided to send Bonsly out to hold it close, but Bonsly had started to cry again, being the baby that it was, so Brock tried to feed it, giving it some milk to calm it down. Bonsly apparently got a bit sick of the milk though, as it stopped drinking the milk and threw the bottle to Brock, so Brock yelled that milk is all that Bonsly was going to get, so Bonsly realized that it was better not to upset Brock, as it stopped crying. Brock was a little embarrassed by the fact that he yelled at a baby, but Angela was impressed by Brock's ability to calm down Bonsly, as well as capture it, saying that Brock was really cool when he captured Bonsly. Brock thought that this was another love confession from Angela, but then Brock lost all thoughts of sex on his mind when Angela mentioned that Brock could be a really good father to Bonsly, and thinking about his own father and him as a baby, that was all he needed to actually stop thinking about sex for once. Everyone could clearly see Brock's visible confusion, so they laughed at this, with all of them basically thinking like, ha Brock, you're never gonna get Angela, ha ha ha, and the episode ends with Ash and Gang saying goodbye to everyone at the ninja school, and continuing on their journey to the battle pike, with Brock still feeding Bonsly some more milk as they walked, promising to take care of it, even if it wasn't father-like, but just protector-like.